So we can start with what's your name?
Thomas Wyson.
Tommy Wyside. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I moved to California in 1983.
Okay. Now, can you tell us about your upbringing as a kid?
I'm a family of 7 brothers and sisters. I have a twin brother, born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a large family. My father was a school teacher. My mother was a housewife, raising all 8 of us kids. I'm a twin, 55 minutes younger, second youngest.
Okay, so you did have both your parents?
I did. They're dead now.
I'm sorry for that. Now, can you maybe tell me how were your parents growing up?
Pardon me?
How were your parents growing up? Your parents, how were they?
How were they? Oh, very loving. I mean, a family of 8. My father was a prisoner of war in Germany. He was shot down and a prisoner of war, so he went through a lot of trauma that way, being a prisoner, the bombs coming down and everything. My mother was very loving. I was the oddball of the family, the weirdo. I was closeted, which I didn't know at the time, and so I was always the odd man out, I felt. But it was a loving, caring, we never starved, we always had food, we always had big gatherings, etc.
Now, tell me, did your parents drink growing up?
Yeah, both of my parents did. Actually, my mother died of drinking, a very slow death, because she raised us all beautifully. And my father quit drinking, but yeah, they both drank. There's my second oldest brother had a big problem drinking. My little youngest brother had a problem with speed. My twin had a problem with speed. I had a problem with alcohol and speed. So it's only the upper 4, Mark, Mary, and Kathy, that didn't have the problem.
Now, do you think that your parents drinking played a part in you obviously drinking growing up? Or your addiction growing up?
I think it's in our DNA. Unhappiness or them drinking, I guess, made it okay. But we weren't, always when we had the get-togethers with cousins and friends and relatives, always the cousins went for the beer. Let's sneak some beer. We never did as kids. We didn't care for it. But eventually, I remember my first drunk. It was MD 2020, Mad Dog 2020. We all went in the field. We were like 16, and that was my first drunk. And we got home, and I vomited all over the hallway. That was my first drunk. That Mad Dog 2020.
I know exactly what it is too. Kind of go back a little bit. Did you graduate high school?
I dropped out of high school and got my GED, and I went to Heald College at year 40. And got an AAS degree.
Okay. Now, do you mind telling me what do you think maybe led you to like a life of drinking or alcoholism?
That's a good question. I've asked myself that 1,000 times. I guess it was, all the peers do it, right? All the kids, we all drink and party. I think it was my low self-esteem, being the odd man out, being the only gay guy. As it turns out, my brother and sister were gay eventually. I guess self-esteem it must have been, and venting, being able to vent, because I'm an angry drunk, and I'm a blackout drunk.
At the time of your drinking, how much did you think you were drinking a day?
One was too many, and 1,000 never enough. In my prime, I could put down 4 6-packs a night. 16-ounce Old English.
Shit.
I don't stop. And then, as I got deeper and deeper into my addiction, the come down is the worst because the alcohol fumes go into the crevices of your brain. So when I'm coming down, I couldn't close my eyes because every time I did, there'd be people coming at me in wicks and so I had to sleep with my eyes open for days. It was called alcoholism. And so my husband would be next to me and he said, I couldn't close my eyes. Every time I closed them, these horrible hallucinations. So at my worst, it was nonstop, and then in the morning right away. I shake just thinking about it.
And how long has it been since you have been clean?
I'm so happy. It's been 8 years.
And congrats on that as well, too.
And I'll have to tell you what happened. It was, I think it was Gary already. My husband was in a nursing home. And for 7 years, the last 7 years. And I think it was New Year's Eve 2020, 2017. And I had quit for a while, and I said, it was late out. I never go out late at night. I said, forget it. I walked 4 or 5 blocks, and I got 2 16-ounce cans of hard seltzer. And I walked home into my hotel room, and I took it, and I poured it down the sink, both of them. And I remember smelling the fumes. And from then on, I never touched another drink, and I don't even want it. And I asked myself, 2 7-year relationships lost, lovers and friends, ER, 5 programs, DTs, money, jobs, and now it's so completely gone. It's like, what was I doing for 40 fucking years? What was I doing? So it's completely gone.
Well, and I feel like that's crazy too that you say that you kind of just went cold turkey essentially, right?
Huh?
Essentially, you kind of just went cold turkey, correct?
I just stopped that day. Never had a craving again.
I feel like that's a blessing right there too, because a lot of people can't, have their programs or.
But it took me 40 years. Walden House, Acceptance Place, Redwood Center, FAD, Heart. On and on. Ozanam, straitjacket, ER, homelessness. I've been it all. Nobody can tell me anything. I see homeless people, I'll give the ones I want to. You can't tell me. You can't tell me you're hurting or what you're doing. I've been there.
You've been there yourself,
I
so
know it. I just lost my husband after 25 years. I lost him a year ago.
Sorry if you
He
lost
was 16 years my senior. I said, if I ever drink again, that's when I'm going to go when he dies. No.
Still no. But that's good though as well. Most people that trauma or that loss pushes them back to that life. But once again, it's a blessing. And congrats on that as well too.
Thank you. It's just the heart.
I understand. So, can you tell me what do you feel drinking did to your life?
It fucked it up. Fucked it up big time. My first lover, Herbie, I was with him for 7 years. The end game on that was I brought somebody home. He and the lover, Herbie and the lover lived in the closet in our apartment while I slept on the floor in the living room. I was suicidal. I committed suicide that day, so I'm banging around because I did all the sleeping pills. I'm banging around the house. Herbie could hear me in the closet banging around, so he called ER, and they took me to the ER, and I was drunk. So this nurse, I'm wide awake, and she's gonna pump my stomach. She didn't use any anesthesia. She says, "You swallow this tube, or I'll strap you down."
Shit.
She made me swallow that fucking tube and put charcoal down there and made me throw up.
That's like torture shit.
It was.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That was at San Francisco General. You can't do that. But I was half out of it. She made me swallow that whole tube. She intubated me, completely conscious.
And what year was this?
I can't remember years.
Oh, good. You're all good.
This must have been in the 90s or the 2000s. I can't remember years.
No problem at all. And so you kind of went over a little bit about people you lost over time.
Oh yeah,
Can you kind of go into that?
So eventually Herbie left. Herbie left with Lee, and then I was with Bob before that in Milwaukee, and it wasn't so bad. I lived snow, and it said Bob would go to work. I lived like 4 miles from my brother's house. I would walk from 107th Street to 27th Street in the snow so I could drink a 6-pack with him that day while I called in sick to work. So I lost Bob, I lost Herbie, I lost friends, I lost my elder sister and brother. Other sisters, they won't have anything to do. my second older sister, she kind of is coming back a little bit, but I lost jobs and friends.
I was going to ask you, career-wise, how'd that go for you?
Many, yeah. I always had an excuse. I always called in sick. But jobs come and go. I find out you can always get jobs. But I've lost jails, the whole bit. Like I say, I mean, the worst I've been homeless.
Do you kind of maybe take us into how you got there, being homeless?
What's that?
How you got there, being homeless and whatnot?
That would be, when did I become homeless? I guess when Herbie and Lee moved in together, I became homeless. But see, I've been between, I was usually between programs, you know. So I was housed in programs a lot.
Yeah. And then I know you said, 'cause I was going to ask, was alcohol your only addiction? But I know you did say speed is
so in the disco days, Herbie and I would go to Trocadero, the End Up, you know those bars? Yeah, and we did speed. We did a lot of speed.
Partying and having fun, staying out.
Alcohol wasn't there then. If you're doing speed, you don't want to drink, right? I drank for the come down off the speed.
Now, going through your addiction for such a long use, did you not have no medical issues, anything like that?
Like what?
Cirrhosis or...
Oh, no.
I'm not sure if like all of them, but...
No liver failure, no cirrhosis, thank God.
That's a blessing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because my mother did. She had cirrhosis and jaundice, the whole bit. Yeah, but my liver's managed to hang in there. No diseases from the drinking, although drinking affects every organ, every part of your body, so I'm sure it's not what it could be. One time I had, my friend lived in the Tenderloin, right around Eddie and Ellis, and I was drunk, they wouldn't let me in his apartment anymore, so I knew his balcony was up there. So I got on top of a car roof, and I was gonna jump and hang on and pull myself up. Well, I'm hanging there, and I had to let go. So I broke my ankle. So they casted me up to my hip. 2 days later, I fall drunk and broke my arm. So I had a full cast and a crutch with an arm like a jetpack and a broken leg. So I was at Fell Street Drop-In Center because I was drunk. They let me go in. The next day, it's pouring rain. So I'm walking on the floor. I'm walking on the street in the pouring rain with my leg casted, my arm pulling myself along on the sidewalk. A cop car pulls along this woman, and she comes back 20 minutes later with a wheelchair in her trunk.
Shit, that was a lesson
and
right
got
there.
me a wheelchair.
How was it kicking the alcohol? Can you maybe go through like the withdrawals of that, or?
I can't tell you the many times I withdrawn. I went to HARP, which was a part of Harbor Lights, and I was DT bad. I was hallucinating everything, and I said to the guy, "Let me lay on the floor, please. Let me lay on the floor." So he let me lay on the floor, and I still couldn't. So they took me. They took me to the hospital. Let me detox, gave me some Librium, and took me back. But Gary, my last marriage, he used to be with me at home when I was detoxing, and it was horrible. Complete hallucinations, or audio hallucinations. Eventually the vision hallucinations went, but the audio would stick around. And those would last 3 days, those hallucinations and the audio. The detoxing is horrible. It's horrible. It's never worth it. And I went through it 100 times, thinking, this time I'm going to do it. I'm just going to have one. I can handle it. No way.
Was the last time as bad as well, or?
The last withdrawal?
Yeah. When you went cold turkey, essentially?
No, that one was good because I had a day in of not drinking, and I had detox prior. And that's when I said, I'm going to do one more. That would have killed me, I'm sure.
Can you go through maybe some of like, I know you said you had a lot of emergency trips and and things of that nature through your time of addiction? You maybe go through some experiences like that?
Where I live now, there was one time, I guess, I had called the ambulance 4 times
In one day?
one day. And the last time the guy came, he said, "You call again, we're going to take you to Laguna Honda."
Is that mental or?
Old people psychiatric ward. He said, "We're going to take you to Laguna Honda." So they would take me, put Librium in me, and let me go.
That was pretty much it?
Yeah. Stop. What made me stop? The smell and the fumes of those 2 16-ounce seltzers.
What you got done?
I have to say that's what did it. I don't know why it stuck as hard as it did, because I've dumped out stuff before, but it's almost a miracle because it's so stopped. It's just so stopped.
I feel like that's crazy because most people, once again,
It's just not
not
even
that
an
easy.
I mean, I'm not even saying, well, I can smoke pot now. That's fine. I can take or leave more or less. I can take or leave the pot. I mean, I have to have it at one point tonight. I know I do, right? But I can take or leave anything. But the alcohol, goodbye, whatever. But I'm just bummed out that I wasted so many people's lives and mine for 40 years.
so much time wasted.
And people.
Did you possibly have a career going through this addiction that you maybe have lost, or
What's that?
I said a career or something that you maybe have lost going through this addiction?
I've lost lots of jobs going through addiction.
Not specific.
Yeah, I've lost lots of jobs. This one job, I was working at as a houseboy at this senior residential home there on Sutter. And then you get a uniform, everything. On my break, I'd run down to Polk Street at the bar, whip down a drink, and then go back to work. Eventually, at that place, they had to send me to the hospital.
Shit.
And my roommate was heavy on speed.
So it's just a little bit everything going on around there. So what about now? Do you have any relationship with alcohol, or it's just abstinence all the way around?
Completely gone.
Completely?
My problem is this. I've always been with somebody, okay? Growing up, of course, the family, 7 brothers and sisters. 18 years old, I'm with Bob. Okay, 18, Discos, Milwaukee, Donna Summer, that's it. 7 years with him. After Bob, I meet Herbie. Another 7 years. After Herbie, Gary. 25 years. I've never been alone. I don't know how to do Thomas alone. I know how to work. I know how people tell me what to do, but Thomas alone is like, I don't know what to do.
So
I'm always doing for others, or working or something, or being told what to do. I'm not motivated that way. I always start projects, never end them, never finish them, and I think, oh, I could paint or something. And I always think, well, that's a waste of time. Nobody knows I'm doing this. I should be fucking productive. Oh, I'm painting. Wow, what a waste. I could read. I do read, but I feel like I should be doing something constructive. I can clean my room how many times, right?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so what do you kind of do now to kind of keep yourself, afloat, or just busy, or just mind off of things?
Luckily, I do have spiritual guides, and I do have a boyfriend in Oregon that I've been dating online for 7 months, every day. Where Gary was a lot older, this is the opposite. So I'm in love, and that's kept me afloat, even though it's really, really hard to date someone online that's in another state, never met ever, probably won't meet till July or August. But that's been my motivation, because I'm totally in love.
Right now.
I'm totally in love. But I still don't know what to do with myself. He works, so he gets to fill his mind and preoccupy it. I'm like, when's you gonna text? When you haven't texted? Blah 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 blah.
If you don't mind me asking, how you getting by right now?
With money?
Oh yeah.
Social Security.
Oh, okay.
And he wants some of that. I try to help him out, but he's got money, but not right now. He can't get at it. But that's what keeps me afloat. And my spiritual, Joey's my spiritual brother. I talk with him and I talk with some friends, but it's lonely and boring a lot. Not enough to make me ever drink.
That's good. That's now. Tell me, what would be like your biggest fear? Do you feel like in life? What's your biggest fear right now?
I have so many. My biggest fear is I won't meet my boyfriend. Something's gonna happen. It won't be real. My biggest fear is that we will somehow won't be able to meet up. Yeah.
Okay.
And not life things. I don't have any more life fears. I've done it all. I'm not afraid I won't get a job. I mean, I was a victim of fucking cyber laundering. I had a Bose stereo I was going to sell for $300. Long story short, I had to give them back the change from the cashier's check in Bitcoin, and I got screwed $2,450. Right now, I'm screwed financially, but I'm like, come and get it. I got $1,600 a month, so whatever you need, I gotta pay rent.
That's pretty. Is it pretty high out here where you're standing at, rent wise?
Oh, rent is high. He wants to get an apartment, and I said, even in the Bay Area, they're like $1,400 a month.
What do you feel? Maybe like the most important thing you've learned in life?
Stay in the now. Stay in the now. Get the book Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Most people, including myself, live in their mind, which is an illusion because thoughts come and go all the time. We tend to latch onto them and base our whole life on that. It's the now. That's all we got. It's not our thoughts. It's the space between the thoughts. That's absolute presence. Absolute presence. So what I'm focusing now is just staying in the now, being present. Don't harp on. Thoughts are illusions because they're always about the past or the future. They're never about right now. How am I doing now, right this second? Fine. I'm not thinking about my past or the future, so right this minute, I'm fine. Aren't you? Right this minute? So that's what I'm trying to do, just live in the present.
Live in the moment.
Gotcha. It's the only way. And I have a great sense of humor.
That helps too.
That keeps me going.
If you had if you had any advice to give someone who's trying to beat addiction, beat alcoholism, what would that be?
Well, go with your heart. The programs are there for a reason. They keep you sober, like Redwood Center, Harbor Life, FAD. They keep you sober and they do teach you things. But the bottom line is, you gotta really want to do it. You got to. If you're trying to quit alcohol and stuff, man, stay in the now. Stay in the now. Look for support if you have to. Get spiritual. Just don't give up. Don't give up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. When I think of how much I invested into alcohol, time and money, for what? To what end? Nothing. So that's my best advice. Stay in the now, get spiritual, and don't give up. And drinking only leads to problems. All drugs do. But pot is medicinal in a lot of ways, and I see a lot of old people going and getting medicinal. It's not to get, hey, party, it's medicinal. But it has its come down. But you gotta really wanna stop. And it took me 40 years, so there's no magic bullet.
I want to say Those smart questions right there.
Just in summary, I mean, there's a reason for everything. We all, I know what you believe, but we all write our charts before we come to Earth. So it's all pre-written. We decided our lives, it's all pre-written, so it's already charted. So if those 40 years were charted in my life, 40 years of hell, I guess, it's for a reason, and sure, I've grown a lot. A, you can't tell me anything I haven't been through, And B, I know I got the rest of my life to go, so that's out of the way, So happy, I should be. I have some money, a little bit of money. I have a fiance. I'm trying to quit smoking. I don't drink alcohol. But happy? I don't know. I know how happy I am.
Right now?
Yeah. I'm always in anticipation because I'm not going to meet Corey until July, so that waiting is a bummer, every day. But I want to find something that I want to be passionate about, I'm passionate about my spirituality. I'm passionate about telling people to stay in the now, don't give in to thinking, all that. Yeah, I'm 67, Don't get bogged down in stuff. Don't get bogged down in your job. Don't think, I'm going to lose my job. Jobs come and go. I've been a busboy and I've been a collection specialist. They come and go. And at the time, I'm going to live my dream, have a dream, the world is over. It keeps going. And when you think this is a crisis right now, guess what? Look at the other crises you've been through. You manage those,
survive,
and the ones to come. So this isn't the one that's going to kill you. Life, if you accept the fact that life is hard, it's not fun. Once you accept that, then you just say, here's life happening again. I got a flat tire, or whatever it is.
Kind of get through it.
You say, this is one of those life things. It doesn't become a problem anymore. It becomes a challenge. You do A, B, and C, and that's all you can do, and then you let it go. The hardest part is letting it go and moving on.
Last question. Where do you see yourself in the future? Maybe in the next 5. I say, where do you see yourself in the future? Maybe like in the next 5 years or so. Where do you see your life?
That's easy. I see myself happily married to Corey and letting him do what he wants. He's been working hard. I want him to go on vacation with me. He's young. I mean, he's got to grow his career. I'm going to help him with that. So if this all comes to fruition, because doubting Thomas, right, that's where I see myself.
Is there something you want to say before we end this?
Just thank you. It was a pleasure talking. I just hope that people realize that it's not the drugs. It's temporary. Drugs, alcohol, speed, it's temporary. It's a temporary fix. I keep telling myself, this is the high. Living life now, that's the high. Not the alcohol, not the drugs. This is the high. This is it. And when I wake up in the morning and I feel straight, I like that feeling. It's the boredom or unmotivation that makes me, TV, here we come. So if this helps somebody, I hope it does. I'm just saying, just don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, it's so bad. Alcohol is the worst. And I'm just happy I'm out of the alcohol.
And congrats on that, and it's a blessing talking to you and meeting you, hearing your story.
Thank you. I hope it helps people.
I hope it does too.